Now, my next two sources, I could type them in using CiteFast, but there's actually an easier way. So I have a source here. I found an audio file in the Gale database. And instead of putting this information into CiteFast, if you scroll down to the bottom of this article that I found, it gives me the citation in MLA format right here. So I'm going to wait to add that particular source to when I'm actually creating my bibliography in Google Docs. Okay, so now I've opened up a new Google Doc to create my bibliography. Okay, so at the top of the bibliography, technically in MLA format, you need to put in works cited, or you can just say bibliography. This is 8th grade. It's okay. You guys can just say bibliography. So what you have to do is make sure that's in the center. So watch my mouse arrow over here. I'm going up here to where it says align. And I'm going to click center align. And then I'm going to click underline. And I'm going to type in works cited. Now I have to make sure that this is double spaced. So I'm going to go up here to line spacing. I'm going to click on it. And I'm going to tell it double. In this way, Google Docs will automatically skip a space in between each line. So I'm going to hit enter. And now I'm going to go back to left align, so that my cursor goes back to the left, so that the text, when I enter it, is going to be lined up with the left margin, not centered like my title is. So now I'm back in Citation Generator, and I'm just going to hit copy and paste. I'm going to select all, and now I'm going to copy, right-click on your mouse, copy, and I'm going to go back to Google, and I'm going to paste. Now, of course, it made it all underlined, which is not what we want. And actually, it actually put works cited in for me. So I can go in and delete my old one. And now I'm just going to highlight all of this and remove the underline. Okay, so I have two sources here. Now I need to copy and paste. I'm going to hit enter over here. And now I'm going back to my other sources that already include an MLA citation in the correct format that I can just copy and paste. So here I am in the database, in the source I found in the database. I scroll down, and there it is in the correct format. So now I just highlight everything, right click, copy, go back to my Google Doc, and paste. Now notice that, oh, I see what happened. Don't make this same mistake. I'm going to undo. Look at where my cursor was. I pasted that other source right in the middle of this URL. That's not what we want. So I'm going to click enter, and now I'm going to paste it in the correct spot. And notice that my text is different here, that it's not the right size. So before I'm done with my bibliography, I'm going to make sure that all my fonts are consistent. But for now, we're going to leave that alone. Okay, I'm going to hit enter one more time. And now my last source that I found is from Britannica Encyclopedia Online Edition, the school edition online that I showed you guys how to use in the past. And so for this one, in order to, so here's again all information. I have pictures. There's a little button with a check mark over here that says Cite. You click on that, and then it gives you there. And you have a drop-down menu where it lets you change the style. You have 4 styles to choose from. We want MLA. Copy and paste, just like you did with the others. Copy. Paste. Oh, and this one gave me a weird shadowing in the background. No problem. We can fix that. All right, so now we just have to make sure that all these sources are in alphabetical order and that they have the proper indents. So I'm going to go back here. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure my indents are in the right spot. A bibliography in MLA format needs to use what's called a hanging indent. So you know when you're writing or typing and you indent the first line of a paragraph and then the rest of it of the paragraph is not indented, hanging indent means you do the opposite. You don't indent the first line, but you indent all the other lines. And the reason I harp on this with my students is because I've gotten caught on this in bibliographies before. So I went to college, I went to graduate school, I was out of school for several years, and then I went back to graduate school. And the first assignment that I did after having not gone to school for about 5 or 6 years, in my bibliography, I forgot the hanging indent. I got 95 on that paper. Guess where I lost my 5 points? Absolutely right. I did not include the hanging indent in my bibliography. So that's why I get on students' cases about this. So, because I don't want the same thing to happen to you. All right. So basically, you're going to take your mouse and you're going to highlight everything except that title that says works cited or bibliography. And you see this ruler up here? Those numbers actually represent inches. It's how it's going to display on the paper. I want this, and you see it's gray starting about here. That means that this sheet of paper has a default 1-inch margin or 1 inch of white space all the way around the edge of the paper. And that is what you need to do for this assignment and for most assignments that you type. But notice that everything I have here, everything that I copied and pasted is indented by 1/2 inch. That's not what I want. So I'm going to grab this up here. I'm going to hold there. You notice that there's 2. One is a little triangle and one is a little bar. The bar is for the first line of a paragraph. The triangle is for every other line of a paragraph. And if you move them together, you're moving everything. Right now, I'm going to grab the bottom here and I'm going to move it over to 0. And now everything I have here, I just got rid of that indent and everything is starting all the way on the left. But now I want a hanging indent. I'm going to move this back here because usually they don't let you move the triangle just by itself. I'm going to move that back to 0.5, which is 1/2 inch. And I'm going to grab just that top bar and I'm going to move it over to 0. And now I have hanging indents. So here's number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. My 4 sources are all there. They're not numbered, Mrs. Shira. How do I know where one starts and one begins? That hanging indent is how you know. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4. So now I need to make sure that they are in alphabetical order. Okay, so I'm now going to highlight everything again. And I'm going to go to add-ons. I'm going to go to sorted paragraphs. I'm going to tell it sort A to Z and click on that. This document needs your permission to run. Okay. All right. So it's asking me to, yes. Allow. And boom, it's alphabetized, but there's only one problem. Parentheses don't count towards alphabetization. So I have to actually move some of these things around. That's okay. I'm glad it happened so that you guys could see. So it automatically has my B, my H here, but it took everything here and assumed that I meant this. So since alphabetization doesn't count, I am going to just copy and paste. Okay, so or rather cut and paste. I want to cut this out. And that was P, prohibition. Okay, so that goes after H. Paste. And this one actually stays there because when you're alphabetizing a list like this, the words A, N, or the don't count. So I have to go to the next word, D for day. So that actually is in the correct spot. All right, so now I have an alphabetized bibliography. All I have to do now is make sure that all my fonts are consistent, the same size and the same font. So I'm going to hit Control A. That's a keyboard shortcut that highlights everything on a page. Just hold down the Control button on your keyboard and press A, and everything in your document will be highlighted simultaneously. And now I'm just going to go up here to the font. I want to use Arial. Okay, it looks like it's already Arial. And I want to make sure it's all 12. I'm just going to go in here, tell it 12. All right. So now everything is the same size and the same font. It's in the correct order. It's in the correct format. The only thing weird is that when I copied and pasted this, I got this funny shading in the background. So I'm just going to highlight this one and I'm going to go to highlight color, and I'm going to tell it none. And now I got rid of that. And there you go. Bibliography is done. I know it seems a little complicated, but trust me, it's way easier than having to do this manually, which I have had to do many times in the past. I really wish these online citation generators had existed when I was in 8th grade and high school and college, because it would have made my life much easier. All right, so now you know what to do to make your bibliography. And if you have any questions or comments, please email me, and I'll help you in any way that I can. All right, thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.